广东话。
Hi, I'm Dinha.
I'm Adam.
Since Adam and I started making videos together, I've received a lot of comments saying that, wow, Adam is able to speak Cantonese in just 4 years. That's so awesome.
多謝大家。
But some of you guys may not know that Adam is not only able to speak, but also able to read and write. I was as shocked as you. Today, we are going to discuss one method that Adam has used to learn Chinese character effectively. Before we start, can I ask how much you can read and write?
Well, recently I've been trying to read a lot more Chinese books to sort of boost my reading speed and learn more vocabulary. Just last week I finished a book called 会乖悲劇 from the Waisile series, and just recently I started another one in the same series called 长训.
Yeah, I like Waisile as well.
They're very interesting stories and they're fun to read, and I found just reading more Chinese, especially 书名语, because it's different from 好语, has really increased my vocabulary, 成语, and also just my general speed at recognizing Chinese words.
Wow, so you're able to read quite comfortably.
That's why I wanted to share some tips that I've used for other learners of Chinese characters today.
My own impression is that Chinese character is a major hurdle to learners for any type of Chinese, right? How do you begin learning that?
One of the most obvious difficulties in learning Chinese is getting thousands of these Chinese characters under your belt. Lots of people do ask me the same question: how did you learn so many characters? Really, learning Chinese characters is a memory game. You want to, 1, know the meanings and pronunciations of a few thousand Chinese characters, 2, keep them in your memory, and 3, minimize the time it takes to do this. There are quite a few popular books and series that introduce Chinese characters in different ways to learn them, but the method that I found by far the most effective is by using mnemonics. A mnemonic is any way of making information easier to remember, for example through imagery, codes and rhymes, or other such clues. I originally discovered this technique in James Heisig's Remembering the Kanji, which I originally used to learn 2,000 Chinese characters when I was studying Japanese, and which I later used to boost this to around 5,000 characters when I came to Hong Kong. Another popular series which uses a similar idea is Chinese. James Heisig's particular method focuses on hooking the meanings of the characters into your memory first, and then later adding pronunciation. Some people disagree with the idea of focusing only on the meaning first, but as someone who has personally tried this method, I can vouch for how effective it is. I do think it's particularly helpful to approach it in this way because most learners probably speak languages whose scripts are radically different to Chinese and probably constructed based on sound, whereas Chinese characters are largely meaning-based.
Oh yeah, Adam, you've mentioned that learning Chinese characters is just a memory game. Can you elaborate a little more on how to play this game?
Sure. When learning the meanings of each new character, it's important to make sure any new information you come across is 1, connected to existing knowledge you already have in your brain, and 2, stands out in some unusual way. Each character is broken down into different parts that the learner then uses to construct stories or mnemonics that hook the character into your memory. In this way, new information becomes attached to existing information in your brain. So consciously approaching characters in this way becomes more important once you pass the stage of learning really basic characters.
Do you have any examples?
Sure. So lots of very basic Chinese characters can be broken up in a pretty easy way. For example, a character such as Sam can be learned easily as tree, tree, tree. Lots of trees equals a forest, right? Chinese is so easy.
It is also how we learned it in primary school.
Unfortunately, not all Chinese characters are so easily broken down. But as you encounter more abstract characters or characters made of less easily broken down components, this method becomes less and less easy to apply. Heisig in his book encourages you to continue breaking down characters and creating ways to remember them. It's not very important if the way you break them down matches the actual historical meaning of a character's parts. What's most important to begin with is that you find a way, any way, to make a character stick. The stories you create eventually fade away and you're left simply knowing the meaning of a character. In order to make the story stand out in some unusual way, and therefore increase the chance of it sticking, I found that the sillier the mnemonic, the more effective.
Oh yeah, Adam, would you mind sharing some of your own example with our audience?
Sure. Often the stories I find most effective are also the ones I'm most reluctant to share because they're either very silly or very embarrassing or something like that, or refer to personal events in my life that I'd rather not say on camera. but I've chosen a few that I'm prepared to say in front of the audience, okay? Yeah, here are some simple ones and some perhaps more abstract ones at the same time. So an example might be zap, hop zap, get zap. You can see quite easily that it's made of different components, but you may not necessarily know what they actually mean. If we look at the top component, this part means feathers or wings or anything like that, and the bottom part is white.
White, yeah, true.
What on earth does that have to do with hop zap or zap guan or any of those words? The most important thing we need to do is memorize that this character has a meaning related to learning or acquiring information or something like that. In James Heisig's book, he lists keywords for every Chinese character so that you can hook a core meaning of these into your brain. So we have white and feather. And you might think, what does white and feather have to do with the meaning of learning or acquiring information? In my mind, what I immediately think of is sort of an old-fashioned scribe sitting with a big white feather quill copying out information from a workbook.
True.
And in this way, you can remember very vividly that white and feather is associated with learning.
Yeah, that's so smart.
And that not only helps you recognize the character, but it also gives you some method to be able to write the character out by hand later from memory.
Yeah, do you know what the white feather makes me think of? When you study very hard, you get full mark or something like that, you can fly in the sky with a white feather, just like angel.
This is proof that everybody will think of a different story, whatever works for your brain. It might sound silly when you say it to somebody else, but the most important is that you can remember it. You never have to tell people these stories.
Yeah. But actually, mine is more silly, I guess.
For sure. Yeah. 呢個係 really stupid，即係有部咧同埋翼啦。咁我就係諗咗有個秘書啦，跟住佢將所有嗰啲紙抌喺地下啦，跟住佢行嚟行去，行嚟行去，即係好膨嘅。
That's good.
好無聊。我會記得，會記得呢個。The point is,
do you know that there's a picture running in my mind that you have run over and over on the page of the book.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, this is silly.
I know.
It doesn't affect.
Yeah. When I learned the word "kao," like a sphere or a ball, I already knew the word like "kao," like 成kao嘅kao.
Oh yeah.
From Japanese, like motomeru. And then on the side, of course, you have king.
Yeah.
So I thought of this king who lost his beach ball, and he was like looking around for it. So he's a king who's looking for, searching for his ball. So then you have king, searching for, looking for, and then the whole meaning is the ball. I mean, it's ridiculous and stupid, but you remember what it means.
But why the king want to play the ball?
I mean, I didn't make a whole narrative in my head, so it didn't go that deep, I'm afraid, but
I see.
It's a very vivid picture to think, okay, there's a beach, it's very sunny, there's a king with his like red cloak on, and there's a ridiculous clown-coloured beach ball, and he's like chasing after it.
It's you know what I think about the king, the Chinese king in the past, and it looks dragon, or a dragon with the yellow clothes. And then just paint a ball. It's kind of weird.
The weirder the better, the weirder the better.
Yeah, but at least it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then maybe one more that I found quite useful was when I learned the character Seng.
Seng.
Like sun, Seng is Seng.
Seng, yeah.
Like holy or sacred or something like that. And so you have mouth, you have ear, and you have king. So you want to sort of remember the order as well. What I did at that time, I remember I said, oh, like a king is holy or sacred if they listen before they speak. So the ear and then the mouth, because they listen and then they speak, and that makes a holy king. I mean, the story's not amazingly hilarious, but it's still useful for hooking the order or hooking it something. Like hooking something into your memory. It's better than just sort of like saying angboy. Just copy it 100 times.
The example you just mentioned right here, the sing, is more makes sense than before.
Yeah, I think some of them seem like more normal stories or something. You sort of have ridiculous ones like the secretary who's walking over her pages. I mean, that's just stupid and has nothing to do with the real etymological origin of the word. Like, of course, but we're not here to be linguists. We're not here to be etymologists. We're here to learn, a few thousand Chinese characters as fast as possible. So using these kind of stories, the characters sort of stand out really strongly in your memory. They become very sticky, very easy to remember. There is still the question though, how to minimize the time it takes to cram so many Chinese characters into your head. To do this, I would recommend using something which a lot of you probably already know about, but which I will just add my recommendation to the huge pile of recommendations you can find on the internet using spaced repetition software. This is basically digital flashcards that help manage the memorizing process for you. So there's lots of popular ones out there. Anki is one lots of people talk about all the time. SuperMemo was one from way back when. There's also websites that do a lot of it for you, like Minimise. For kanji or Chinese characters, Japanese characters specifically, there's a really good website that I use called kanji.kohi.com, which we'll link down below, which is set up to pair with James Heisig's Remembering the Kanji book, so it works really well in conjunction.
Oh yeah, Anki, I use this software for my Japanese as well.
Yeah, I still use it now. I use it for Chinese characters, it was super effective.
Yeah,
I still use it now for vocab, I use it for Cantonese and Japanese.
Yeah, also for grammar, the sentence structure, everything.
Exactly, it's really useful. They really help you overcome the problem of forgetting because they schedule the flashcards to test you at the optimum time when you're about to forget that information anyway. So you can keep your memories fresh and you minimize the time it takes to review old knowledge that you've already covered. There's plenty of other videos on how all of those work, so I won't go into them too much here. You can also use these kind of mnemonics to learn other things like vocabulary.
Sounds useful. Any more examples?
Sure. So we could take some Cantonese words or some Japanese words or some English words to do some examples with this. For example, Cantonese, say you want to learn the word dino, and you maybe don't know that din is electricity and no is brain or anything like that, so you can't use anything like that. But it does sound a little bit like the English word dunno, like I don't know. So
Okay.
you could say like, when I don't know a fact, I check on my computer.
Yeah.
Like I check on my dino when I don't know. Close enough.
right,
It's not perfect, but the point is that it's hooked in some way to your memory. It's better than having zero. Or even you could use this method to learn some English words. So I picked out a few that I thought might be useful to get you sort of thinking about how to apply mnemonics to English words. Say you want to learn the following word, camouflage. Do you think of anything?
Yeah. The first thing coming to my mind is that camera flash.
It sounds a bit like camera flash. Again, not exactly the same, but camouflage, camera flash sound very close.
Yeah. True.
So you could easily create some kind of story, imagining that you're wearing camouflage, you're in the forest or whatever, trying to hide from some people who are coming after you with like a flashing camera. Again, not the same pronunciation, but we're not aiming for that, we're just aiming for something that can hook new knowledge into your brain.
Yeah, true.
Say another difficult word such as taxidermy. Sound like anything to you?
Although I don't know that word, the first thing coming into my mind is taxi and army.
Taxidermy, taxi, army.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we can sort of start to make a story about, we have a taxi, we have an army, and we want to get the meaning of taxidermy out. So I might imagine some kind of country where they send an army of stuffed animals in a taxi to go and fight in a war. A taxied army. Taxidermy? I mean, it's close enough. It just shows how ridiculous your stories can be, but it's a way of remembering it.
Fantastic. Making up story to learn information sounds like a lot of fun.
This.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for sharing so much information with us.
You're welcome. If you guys are learning Chinese characters or Cantonese or Japanese, drop us a message below telling us what methods you're using. Maybe you even have some funny mnemonic stories you can share with us too. Thank you everybody for watching our video today. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like and share. Click the subscribe button below to stay up to date with all the latest content. We're going to be making lots of more useful videos about Cantonese and language learning for you.
See you next time. Super. Super. My own. 嘈啊係，咩事啊大佬？好，再嚟一個。認真啲，認真啲。How did you begin learning that? Okay. ちょっと我跟住，我跟你依邊話跟嘅，係我哋
花絮去唱嗰段片啊！
應該會可能錄到5分鐘出嚟奶。How did you learning? How did you begin? Wow.